Hey, hey, hey! Hello, everyone. Hey, Pablo. Hey, Luis. How are you?
Oh, wow, I'm doing amazing, Bruno. Thank you so much for asking. And I interrupted Luis. Luis, how is it going?
It's going great. Doing well here, and happy to be joining you folks. It's been a while.
Yes, yes, and we have amazing news today. Hey, hello to everyone in the chat. I will try to pop the messages. You've probably also seen that not my official office, my custom office. I'm here in the New York office with my super crappy computer, but I'm super happy because today we are going to talk about something that we've been cooking in the last couple of weeks, months. I really can't remember how long have we been doing this. With this course of generative AI for beginners, we have one already there, but this is for .NET, and it's also have a special twist in the way that we are doing this. So let me see if I can share my screen and we can start. By the way,
I
we
cannot
don't.
wait, Bruno.
Yes. Hey, no pressure there. Uh, By the way, this is the repo. The whole idea how we have this is we are going to have a repo. The repo is going to be public in a couple of weeks. So today is kind of a soft launch to see what do you think about, how we are tackling this part and more. And there is a couple of, I want to really focus on a couple of things here in the repo. So there is a generative AI course that we have. I will ask Pablo if he can share the link in the chat so we can share it. And this is created by the full AI team, and they go deep on. They have 20 plus lessons, and they go deep in a lot of specific AI tasks. The .NET version, based on what we talk with you, the audience, and the community, and more, is a little different. It's a little difference in terms that what we are going to have here is for each one of the topics that we want to talk, cover, and more, we are going to try to have three main pieces here. A 5 to 10-minute video, very short video with an overview, a fully functional .NET Code samples, and also what was important to us is to provide a super easy entry level way for people here. So if you want to learn how to do AI with .NET, the only thing that you need today to start is to have a GitHub account. And with a GitHub account, you are going to be able to create a code space. And we are going to see this in this repo. And also, you can use some GitHub models. So if you want to test about, hey, what are a cool OpenAI model? Let's go on GPT-4o mini, in example. GitHub models have the model there, and you can test. But if you want to go with Llama models, there are a couple of Llama 3.2, Llama 3.3. There are a couple of Llama models also in the GitHub model catalog. And you have a free quota to try these models. You have a free quota to use code spaces also. I can't remember the numbers. They're somewhere here in the documentation, but this is literally an easy way to start. Of course, we are going to provide later, if you start here using GitHub code spaces and GitHub models, and you want to move your samples, in example, to use models on the cloud, we have a couple of guidance on how you can use a GitHub model samples in .NET to run using Azure, with using the same model in example in Azure AI. Or also an option here, because in .NET we have tons of options. You can even run some of the models with Olama. So one of the things that we have here in our demo, in our code spaces, is a fully functional Olama code space where you can download your models and play around with this. So there is a lot of things here, but keep in mind this, that each section, and it's not section, it's lesson and sections. We try to cover each topic with a very short video, a fully functional code samples, and also the chance that you can test it in a quick way for free. What do you think about this? Pablo, what do you want to add there? And by the way, Pablo is my super friend to doing this and building this. So I really want to see what is
Oh
his
my
point.
God. I don't know what to add, Bruno. I'm gonna be very honest with you because I have so many things I can add. First of all, I would say that I loved that we are using a lot of GitHub models because that is the quickest and easiest way to you to start to learn about generative models, right? Because Olama is lovely. I mean, I used Alona a ton already in my personal computer, etc. But the cool part about GitHub models is that you don't need to worry too much about, Azure quotas, etc. You can just try to experiment some of the amazing LLM models LLM models is kind of mouthful, isn't it? Because LLM is already large language models, but you know, you have so many things you can try with GitHub models easily, and you can just like have fun. But of course, when you need scale, you need to go to Azure. Yeah, or if you have your local models running, you need to go to Olama. So you're gonna learn how to use three amazing tools: one for prototyping, one for local models, and other for Azure OpenAI, which is incredible. And not only that, what I like the most, Bruno, I don't know if
Yes,
no.
sorry, but we have this internal, as we lost Luis, so we are going to wait until he
Oh
connects back.
no!
No problem. And we have this internal poll here about how far, how much time are we going to need to wait until we have DeepSeek as a question. So
Yeah.
we are going to tackle DeepSeek at the end. We are working on that. I mean, by the way, DeepSeek is on Olama. We have Olama here. We have Olama code space with Olama, so you can pull down Llama. Let me show you here. This is one of the code spaces that we have running Olama. And if I do Olama list of the models, oh, sorry,
Ooh,
Olama list of the models, what you can see there is that
you
we
can see
have one of the
deep.
models there. So, and there will
Mhm.
be more DeepSeek news. So keep an eye on DeepSeek and Azure because we were going to have news about this. But yes, it was literally before the minute 10. So yes, before the 10 minutes, DeepSeek is there. And there is a lot of talk about that, but this is also something that we want to learn from you. If you have a question, if you have an insight, if you have something that you want to see here, we really want to see how we can help. This is created for the community. This is created so everybody can start. So as I just showed, you can start in an easy way with code spaces and GitHub models. But if you want to do something else, we have more to do. So there are a couple of sections here, a couple of questions like Jose, include vision transformers. We don't have a specific specific topics going deep in example on transformer for visions. In those scenarios, we kindly advise everyone to go to the main Generative AI course. They go deep on those topics. What we try to do is we try to provide a dotnet sample of how you can use a model like that. So we can move forward if you want. And hey, Luis, welcome back. Somehow
Welcome
we
back,
lost you
Luis.
Thanks.
for a
Yeah, not
second.
sure what was happening there. I wasn't even like running a lung or anything on my machine, so not sure what's going on.
Yeah. So in example, let me show you the big difference that we have here. This is the main generative AI course. This is the one that is already, I think, in version 3. It's public, and they have, how many lessons do they have here? Let me
21
take
at
a
this
look at the
point, I believe.
table. Yes, so they have how you can start, introduction to GenAI and large language model, how you can explore models and more, responsible AI. Somewhere here is vision. So they go in the explanation and the technical parts of how this works. The .NET version is completely different. The .NET version, we only have 6 lessons. The first is a very high level overview of GenAI for .NET, where we also cover the tools that we have right now, because in example, we have super popular framework like Microsoft Extension for AI, Semantic Kernel, Azure Inference. So we cover the stuff. We also cover scenarios where you can use 2 or more or different libraries for these kind of things. Second lesson is how you set up this environment. What do you need to start? As I said, you can start at easy with the code space and GitHub models, but if you want to run stuff locally, if you want to run Olama, we cover this. Then we talk about techniques. This is the moment that we start to talk about chat, because everything started with chat. But then when you start with chat, you can go and do functions, and then you can start to do RAG, and then you can do real-time audio, and then you can do vision, and then you can do, I don't know, I completely forgot the whole list of topics that we have there. And
A
then
lot,
we have,
a
yes,
lot
we
of
have a lot.
topics.
And then we have practical .NET samples where we are going to see end-to-end scenarios, end-to-end repo. We saw already a couple of them here in the channel, but this is basically a repo that you can go in ACD ACD app, and it's going to be fully ready to deploy, and you have a full real-time audio demo example. We just talk about that audio. Or RAG using Azure, or RAG using in memory, or more. So we have this, and of course, the last two sessions are responsible AI. We want to also share our 6 principles and how they apply in the .NET world. And the last one is going to be real-world scenarios. We want to collect a set of clients mostly that they are using .NET and AI and GenAI at enterprise customer level, and we want to share it with you so you can be inspired or you can do more there. So that's kind of the main difference, and that's it for us. This is lesson 6. So we have 20 focus on content and more, and explaining in 20 plus here in the main GenAI, and the GenAI for .NET main difference is that even if we go here in the core generative AI example, and we start to see the fundamentals, like we talk about completion functions and more, the main idea is that once you are here, you can literally make 2 clicks, and you are going to be running a .NET sample, a .NET code, or you're going to be close to the code, because this is something that we get the feeling that the community has. And I see a lot of questions. I will try to keep an eye also on the questions to see what we have. But I don't know. Pablo, Luis, any thoughts about or even the audience, any thoughts about the repo, the idea, and the course? As I said, this is different than the one that we used to do.
Yeah, no, I love how simple it is, right? And how you give folks different options depending on what it is that they need. And the code spaces approach, right? Code spaces plus GitHub models, as I think it was mentioned earlier, just makes it easy for folks to just dive in and get started with this. I also like the approach that you took of, focus it around concepts, right? And then because these models are so powerful that, like, at the end of the day, there's a lot of things that they can do, right? And obviously you can't cover all the things that they can do. But with the basic concepts, right, folks can then start trying out for their specific scenario. So that's amazing.
Thanks. And by the way, if you are new to code spaces or to GitHub models, let me show you what you have. So in example, this is, and if you are new to this, please go and give it a try. This is GitHub Models. GitHub Model is part of the marketplace of GitHub. So when you have an account, you can start to play around with this. And of course, you have Copilot here, you have applications, you have actions with templates and more. But in the model sections, you see that you have the latest 5 model, you have Coastral. This is new for me. This is probably a fine-tuned version of one of the Mistral, models.
Bruno. They always do that. It's like, oh, a new model. Wow, what a big surprise.
Yeah. We talk about reasoning models. We talk about DeepSeek a lot here right now. But if you want to try O1, you have O1 here. So you can use the model. And when you have Llama, you have the Mistral. I know this Mistral, not the Costa. But when you have a model in example, what we really like, and again, the only thing that you need to do this is your GitHub account. You can get here and you can start to try the model. You can say, hey, what's happening? Oh no, what is AI? And O1 will start to answer. Of course, this is O1, it's going to take some time, but the cool thing is that, hey, if you want to see how you can code this, we have here super amazing response here. You can check and change the parameter, the system prompt, the tokens that you want to use, the reasoning effort. This is something specific for reasoning models, which I really, really like. But then also, if you want to do some coding with GitHub models, you can easily switch here depending on the model to see what are the SDKs that you have, what are the languages that are implemented, and you can do more. And hey, if you want to start here, the only thing that you need, as I said, is a GitHub account, and then you need to create a developer key because it's going to use a personal access token. In order to do this, what you need to do is, can't remember, I think you need to go to your profile, settings, developers, somehow you get to settings here, and you can create a new token, classic token. Oh, I need to authenticate myself. I will do this later. But when you have a token, at that moment, you can start to work. And the code that you need to do, in example, for .NET, to use this, to do a very simple hello world, using extensions for AI, Microsoft extension for AI, it's let's create a chat completion client, Let's do the endpoint, which is the model inference from GitHub. Then we get the GitHub token, the model that you want to do, you want to use, and then what is AI. That's it. 10, 12 lines of code, and you can start to test this. And by the way, in order to get here, you see here that I'm running this in the browser, we are working with the code spaces that we talked before. So if I go to the main course and I want to start from beginning, I will say code. I will go here, code spaces, new with options, and we have two flavors right now with code spaces. We have standard code space that you're going to create and deploy everything that you need to do C#, and another one, this is going to take a little longer, that is going to create everything that you need, but also in the code space is going to start an Olama instance and is going to download, I can't remember, I think it's going to download 3.5 and one of the text embedding models, Al Mini LM, I can't remember, one of the embeddings models, and with that, you can start. So in example, I created this, and this is the one that I have running here. And if I want to run this model, dotnet run, that's it. I need to, where I'm here, so let me go to basis, cd, what is this is O2, source, basic chat 01, and I do .NET run. And here I have a model running with 3.5 mixture of instruct, whatever, and it's going to use my GitHub model to do this, which is super cool and super nice. Yes, Pablo, I think you were going to say something?
Just joking, you wrote .bat. I found that funny. That's it.
Yeah, one thing that I was going to kind of jump in here, that flow that you went through with generating the API key and getting the token, I believe that when you run these samples through code spaces, that part is automatically done for you. And I think you just need to set that GitHub token environment variable, so that doesn't change, but you don't need to go through that flow of creating your key.
That's correct. When you create a GitHub token, a personal access token, and you create a code space, that token will be automatically added into your environment with this name, GitHub token. So with this line of code, you can start here. So literally, the only thing that you need to do is run the code space, and you are ready to go. And hey, if you want to test, what is the name of the model? If you want to test the same. What is the name of the model? AP version, model client. Somewhere here is the model name. I don't know, can't find it. But I think it's O1. So if you want to test this with O1, AP version, GitHub token, model, and you can only need to change. Okay, there it is, O1. So if I want to test the same, but instead of Pi5, I want to do O1, we can literally do .NET run, and we have the same scenario. This is a very simple one, by the way, where you have I probably run out of, I need to do the specify directly the version, so they use this. But hey, there is a code sample to do that. This is what we like about live samples. So you change the name of the model, and you are ready to go. And the same with Olama. As we saw, as we talked, there is Olama running here. We have Olama running in the code spaces. And if we want to test Olama, in example, this is the 10 line of code that we need to do this. We are going to have Olama with the client, and we have Llama 3.2 here. We can ask, what is AI? I think I don't have Olama. I don't have Llama 3.2. I have 3.5. So let's change this for 3.5, and you do Olama. I'm sorry. Let's navigate to that sample. This is number 3. And let's do a .NET run. Oh, typos. And this is going to run literally what is AI, is using the streaming chat responses here, and we are going to have the response literally with here. I saw a lot of questions. Pablo, if you can help me with the questions in the chat to see what we have.
We have so many questions, Bruno, but I answered some in chat already.
Okay.
Um, okay, but I believe a lot of people are very curious, Bruno, about running local models. Especially
Yes.
DeepSeek, etc. I think. Do you want to tackle those, or do you want to let people see in the curiosity until the final moments of
Okay.
this live stream?
No,
How
no,
do you?
that's a great question. So a couple of things to share there. So Olama has their own library of models. So any model that is in Olama, you can literally try to run it and have it here. And if the model basically do the chat is open, it fills the chat implementation, they open the chat specification that you can have the chance to use it. Like we have it here, literally. So you can run Phi, you can run Llama, you can run any model that you want. If you want to try new models, go to Olama. If you want to also try the models with the new DeepSeek models or the new models, we are literally deploying those models to our Azure AI Foundry, to our platform. So you probably
Mhm.
need to wait and more. There is also a way, I can't remember how, that you can run models from Hugging Face into Olama. I think there are models, if they have the GGUF, they are exported in that format. And I'm talking about memory, I don't have everything here. I think you have a command where you can do Olama run, and you put the full URL to the model from Hugging Face, so you can run also these models. The cool thing about that is that once you have all of this, and the model is running there, one option is run the model on Olama, and then with this, it's done. With this, you have the chance to test the model. You only need to remember the name of the model and more. I will say also that Hugging Face, they have over 1 million models already in the catalog, so you will find a lot of things, but you can also need to be very careful of the models that you run because there are probably also people who trust the model, go to the community, read the discussions and more to see how far you get there, how far you can go with the model. But yes, if you have access to Olama and running models, this is literally the 10 line of code that you need to do that. By the way, this is using Microsoft Extension for AI. I don't have it here running, but the semantic kernel implementation, if you are more in the semantic kernel code, it's the same 10 line of code. You only change the library, you only have this, you only have the library, and I can't remember the other thing that you need, but it's 10 or 12 lines of code. It's literally the same. So one of our goals here, in example, I started to get the feelings that people are interested in local models. So, okay, we will add more content about this. We cover this. We even have sample demos of how you can do vision with local and more. But if everybody's interested on this, let's go for it.
Yeah, and I think just to kind of answer, I think Janice Q had a question like if, for example, instead of 535, you did R1 for the DeepSeek, the 70 billion. That would work actually. Or it should. I was looking at the Olama model library, and it seems like DeepSeek is already on there. So you would definitely just have to change that model parameter, like the name, and that would work, or it should.
Yes, and that's also kind of the cool things that we have here. This is why we didn't want to go deep on how the chat completions API works and more. We want to provide the developers, the developers, literally the 10 line of code that you need here, and then you change here and you put Bruno DeepSeek version 193 because I am going to create the most amazing model ever. And when it's published here and there, you can probably start to test it about this. But the lines of codes are the important part. So in example, if we start to take a look at let me go back here to the course. If we start to take a look at the core generative AI part here, and we start to talk about, in example, RAG, what we have here, and by the way, they are going to have the videos coming soon. We are going to have here is an amazing explanation about RAG, an amazing explanation about what we have, how you can do this with semantic kernel, what are the 10 lines of code that you can in order to do this. So we have here memory collections and more, but at the end, somewhere here, okay, this is the movie databases and more. In example here, we have the RAG sample using Olama. So this is also why we want to provide the code space with Olama. and the models there. If you want to learn about RAG and you don't want to deal with models on the cloud and more, Olama is a great way to do this. And also, I will advise everyone who is going to do RAG testing and more that be very careful with GitHub models, because I can't remember the limits that we have there, but the limits that we have for embedding models is very small. So if you start to get excited and you start to chunks documents and generate embeddings from the documents and more, you are probably going to use all of your embedding credits in the GitHub models in literally half an hour. So just use a couple of models and do your testing. But if you want to go crazy, use Olama with the local model, and you can literally do that.
Yeah, the one thing that I'll kind of call out here is that this I embedding generator, right? That's part of the Microsoft Extensions AI set of abstractions. And so to Bruno's point, right, like if you start hitting some of those limitations, and you may not be running local models, right? You might be using GitHub models. You can always switch to a different provider, right? That has
Yes.
higher limits and it's more for production use. And that's literally a one line change here. Instead of using Olama, you'd be using, some other provider.
Yeah.
And an example, if we want to run this, I can't remember. Do you remember this one? That one is on Core Generative AI
It's on free,
source.
yeah.
And yes, as you see here, we have tons of samples here. Of course, we are covering also agents with functions, OpenAPI. We have a Python, part of a Python set of codes here. We want to show how an agent can interact with internal, external, doing RAG and more. But somewhere here is the RAG sample. Hey, this is one. This one is using semantic kernel. So let's take a look at this one. This is literally the one that we have using Olama. Yes. And so I think if I go here to my code, let me see if I can quickly go there. By the way, I have here in the Solution Explorer, can't remember, I can open the solution, techniques, there it is. And here in RAG, semantic kernel Willorama, I can literally build this one and run it, and it's going to be ready to use. And again, this is all running here in our code spaces. There it is, it's building. Perfect. And the only thing that I don't like here in code spaces is when you do these Spectre demos, is that you lose the formatting. It's supposed to have colors here, so supposed to do more, but hey, this is a RAG demo running all locally with Olama. It's testing, it's trying to using 5.3.5 and also one of the LLMs. And the whole idea is that we are going to ask the model a very simple question like, what is Bruno's favorite superhero? The model will say that I don't know, I don't have personal information about this or that. But then we are going to create a small vector database, feed some information there, including myself and Gisela. She's one of the person who created this at the beginning a long time ago, the first version. And then we are going to ask the same question. And now one of the answers is that I think it's Invincible or Batman. Can't remember which one
Yeah.
it's
I think
there.
it's the Invisibles, I think.
Yes, but I don't like the enter here because sometimes it gets in the debug here it gets stuck, and this is for Spectre. I know that if you run this directly from the console should work, but hey, this is
Bruno,
something else. Yes,
while we expect it to generate, I have some questions for you.
yes, shoot.
JMP asks, can I use this locally and have Aspire run Olama?
Yes, that's a great question. And we have our friend Aaron that he's
Yeah,
working on the Aspire community toolkit, and one of the most cool samples that we have there is the chance to use Aspire. And with the community toolkit, you can provide Olama model. So in the APP host of Aspire, you say, hey, provide for the full solution 5.3.5 and one embedding models, and then the other projects can access to that. So yes, and that's probably lead us to session lesson 4.
See,
Because in
Bruno,
lesson 4,
I know the flow. Look, I'm contributing to it.
yes, it's like you wrote all of this. So the lesson
Wow, it's
4,
like I wrote the lesson.
it's all about real end-to-end scenario. So we have an example that is Shop Little, that is basically have a semantic search here where you have a list of products and then you can search using a vector database of products. This is an Aspire solution. This should be the link somewhere here. I can't remember. Oh, you can. By the way, you can see here the Aspire dashboard. Where do we have the link to the repo? I have it here in my notes, but this one is redirected to this repo. As I mentioned, we have fully functional repos, and this one is redirected to the repo. I'm back. I lost connection for a second. So this is
Yeah.
a repo that use Aspire that basically implements semantic search and do everything else, and it's part of the course. So we have this one with the in-vector memory database to search product, but, and you can see also we have here, this is kind of an end-to-end best practices because we also have here APP inside. The deploy is using manager identity, so you don't put your keys on a key vault or anywhere there. So this is an end-to-end solution, as I said, that you can deploy. But at the end, if you want to do the same with, in example, Azure AI Search, we have another repo that literally implements a very similar scenario, but in this case, we are going to use Azure AI Search for store the vector database. So we are going to have again the list of products, the search of products, but somewhere here we are going to see that in the resources created in Azure, we have Azure AI Search, and this is what we use as a vector database. And you have here also, of course, a diagram with all of the components, model, and more. And remember, lesson 4 is all about fully functional scenarios. If you want to do this using, can't remember if we use Azure Search here or not, using real-time audio, that means when you have a chat in real time doing RAGs, doing question for you are going to have a front end with the products. You're going to have the chance also to do semantic search. By the way, semantic search is this is outdoor products, and you can ask questions. Suggest me something to cook at night. Suggest me something to go hiking on a rainy day, and you're also going to have the chance to talk. Here we have another application that uses the GPT-4o real-time preview model that basically talk and do RAG in the back to answer these questions and more. And this is all part of what we have here. Yes, Pablo, we explain this. Oh, sorry, not here. Here we
No, no,
explain
not there.
these
Yeah.
scenarios. Yes, sorry, my browser is almost dying. We explain these scenarios and we try to provide a real example. What else do you
Exactly.
like about lesson 4?
What I like the lesson for is that we have code. So usually when you see in videos, we talk it and we just show, hey, this is what it does, this is what we do, right? But the problem is sometimes in videos, you know, we are rushing, we are talking to explain something really fast, etc. But the good part of us doing like that in text is that we can explain exactly what we are thinking, why we are doing X step or Y step. And not only that, I added there some extra comments. You can see right there that I actually generated some extra comments there. So to explain to you what is really going on. So you can see why we are doing what were you trying to do, and especially how can you use that knowledge to apply to your own projects, which is incredible. And not only that, you can see Bruno's talking, you can see it running, and then you can learn in multiple ways, right? Because here's the thing, learning is you need to learn in multiple ways. It's not just watching us, it's not only writing code, but it's writing docs, it's try to learn, it's try to read. So we are trying to give you more pathways to see and internalize some of this knowledge to you, and how to apply to real scenarios. So we have here 4 amazing scenarios, especially with eShop. I really like the semantic search, by the way, because that's a thing. Usually when you try to buy in e-commerce, a lot of people don't know how can I implement like keywords and try to correlate to products other than like classic ML. And generative AI, eases that curve a lot. You don't need your own product, your own neural network. You can do very easily try to use semantic search to like implement that as a snap, right? So these are some of the scenarios that it really helps you. That was our objective here in this course, is seeing what can we do for you to implement valuable, nice features that fits product fit. That was our goal here, and we are so excited for you to see how can you implement that in your own projects.
Yes, and I'm reading the questions here also. Thanks, Pablo. And hey, a couple of things that we want to point here. So Jan is yes, you can put smaller size model locally. Uh, I mean, you can, but it's not the idea. I will say that you need to keep in mind that, in example, the small Llama 3.2 versus the big one, there are a lot of difference there. That said, also I want to remark that even if this lesson 4, which is mostly focused on real time, real use cases scenarios, you can run some of them locally. If you are using, an example, vision models in code spaces with Olama, that's not going to be a happy experience, because to analyze an image, and we have a couple of samples here doing vision, doing full end-to-end vision scenarios, but to analyze an image, you can probably need to wait minutes until the image is analyzed. While if you are running that model on the cloud, it's just seconds. So depending on where you are and the model that you are using and where you have, is you probably need to move to the cloud and more. But at the same time, I'm sorry, 3.5 Vision is a very good model. We done amazing things, and you can run that model locally. And if you run the model locally with the GPU, you have the chance to do amazing things. And also you can use Onyx to avoid Olama, an example, and basically load the memory directly in memory to use it. So there are a lot of options that you can have here. But the whole idea of the lesson 4 is that to provide an end-to-end scenario that if someone wants to use this, like an example, to do semantic search, they have this. Another one which was very popular, I can't remember where it is, Pablo, is the chat with your data. Because we get the feeling when we start to talk with developers that everybody knows, when you start to do this, you can easily learn how you can do and create a chat. So you can do a chat and the chat can talk and that's it. But how about when you need to talk with your documents or your data or more? That's a super challenging scenario. I don't know, and I know that Luis is also working a lot there. Luis, something else that you want to add? I'm going to try to open the demo repo.
Yeah, no, I think you're spot on, right? Like the way that you structure these lessons kind of guide you eventually to get to that point, right? Like you introduce semantic search in one, right, which is part of that flow of chatting with your data. You've introduced the chat piece, right? And when you sort of bring both of those together, right, that's ultimately that sort of the hero sample that most folks are familiar with, right, through Chat GPT and some of the other chat interfaces. So it's really nice that eventually you built up, through these lessons to that, right?
Yes, and that's kind of idea. And an example in this one, this is also a great sample of how we try to build this as a reference for everyone. Because if we start to take a look at the chat with your data, by the way, this is all that you can literally clone and use them today. But we have a chat, of course, the chat that you can chat with your data. We have another front end where you can upload documents, and the documents are going to be uh, analyzed and more. But then we have, and this is the Aspire dashboard, there is a lot of resources here. Why? Because there are a lot of moving pieces in this scenario. Every time that you upload a document, as far as I remember in the flow, the document is going to be stored in the blob storage. Then the document is going to be translated from Word document, PPT, PDF, image, or whatever to Markdown. We are going to use the Markdown. We are going to split the Markdowns in chunks, and that's the one that we are going to store in the database. And we are using Azure AI Search here. And then when you start to talk, you are going to talk with Azure AI Search. In that process, there is a lot of small things that we want to share with the community that are great. So, in example, We have a library, we have an amazing library in Microsoft that allows you to basically convert, I think, any type of document to Markdown. The library is called Markdown. Markdown, yes. But it's in Python. And it will be a shame that we need to create something like this. There are a couple of .NET libraries that they can do that. So we are using here CSnakes, which is a project that we have to embed Python libraries in .NET to create one of these services to basically pick up that pick up that library, expose an endpoint, and when you have it in .NET, when you have a document, you can use Markdown and get the Markdown there. Another option will be, hey, because I have Markdown and I can create a Python Flask application that expose and I use this in Docker. Yes, that's another option, and I'm guessing that anytime soon we see something like this available for .NET developers. But this is also another scenario where if you get to a point that you need to use a third-party non.NET or in Python mostly, in example, and you want to take advantage of this, hey, this is one way that you can do it. It works great. We haven't tested this for performance and more, but I will say that should work depending on where you have. It's deployed to Azure, so you can have everything using Azure, and it covers that scenario where, as I said, you can chat with your data. But here, one of the key samples is also how you can use this Python library, that is very popular in a .NET application. And somewhere here, I think, as you can see, this one have tons of resources in Azure. This is a more complex scenario. But once again, it's a reference one that you can take a look and start to see here in APP Insights how the different containers are talking between each other. It's all running in container apps. It's all secure, using managed identity and more. So another example of what you have. Oh, it's work in progress, the architecture diagram. We need to add this one to the list, Pablo, or maybe I put the wrong list, the wrong link.
I think you forgot to talk to, hey, we need architecture on that one. Yeah, that will be more work. Because folks, you see how you find work from me, say, oops, we missed something. I mean, yes, it happens, right?
No, but I like for the question that we have here right in the chat right now is people are interested on Hugging Face. So we may want to talk about Hugging Face here. I mean, we are covering some scenarios, but we don't go deep in terms that if you find the model that you like in Hugging Face and you want to give it a try, these are, and Luis probably keep me honest here, these are the three options that you have. I am talking by memory. So if you can host the model in Olama, it's ABC. As this is what we know, it's very simple. You can probably run this. If the model has a Onyx version, you can also use Onyx. I don't think that we cover that, but this will be nice to have to add here, cover some Onyx scenario. Oh my God, and I think the third one, but I went blank. So it was Olama, it was Onyx, and
you can also run it through the APIs, right? So Hugging Face, and I believe you can also deploy to Azure. There's that sort of hosted inference API that they provide, and there's a set of .NET libraries out there for Hugging Face that enable you to talk to that API. Those are also implementing the extensions.ai. So like, again, swapping out those providers, right, depending on what you need is super easy. But yeah, those I think are generally the main three ways that you can consume models from Hugging Face. But again, with each of those, your mileage may vary because it's not, not all the models may be covered here. And specifically with Olama, which I think it was brought up here as well, with the Aspire integration, that just supports it out of the box. Right? So,
yes. Yeah. Yes, and by the way, if you take a look at the samples that we have here, when we make this public, and who is what Jan is asking at this, our samples are using Olama for deploy this. We have the support of Aaron, and Aaron created a couple of samples where when you are working locally, you work with Olama and the model, and when you deploy to the cloud, you switch to the model hosted in Azure and this kind of thing, which is also nice because you can test locally using Phi, in example, and when you move to the cloud, switch to a GPT-4o or GPT-4o mini as an example for that. So thanks for those questions, and we will give it a thought to Hugging Face. That said, I am going to talk about memory, going to put my memory here, challenge my memory. I think there is over 1 million models in Hugging Face right now, and we have 2,000 in Azure, plus 2,000 in Azure AI Foundry. Main difference there is that depending on the model that you have in Azure Foundry, you can choose the regions where you want to use the model. Also, depending on the models, you can run the models in serverless mode. You can run the models in with content filters to give you more security and more. And hey, this is also important for us, not only to provide a way to use the model, also to explain that in the platform, depending how you want to use the model, you can test and learn, in example, in GitHub models. But if you go to production, you need to go to Azure, that's for sure, or maybe local models if your scenario is a local model scenario. But this is something interesting. I didn't realize that Hugging Face was super important, and it was Spring between DeepSeek and Hugging Face. They cover 50% of the comments, so we will keep those for
Yeah.
the.
Yeah, and the other thing to keep in mind, right, in terms of like, like how many models there are in Hugging Face versus what you see in, for example, like GitHub models or even AI Foundry, right? Um, One of the things that happens with Hugging Face is people remix or fine tune or train their own custom models
Yes.
off of the basis, right? So like that million, sort of or so number is people just taking the set base of models like the llamas, like the birds, right? So those other base foundational models, and then retraining them with their own custom data or other things like that, right? So, I think typically what I've seen from the both GitHub models and some of the other offerings, right? They try to focus more on the base set of models and the ones that folks tend to use the most, right? And so taking that approach versus let's host every single model out there, and if you do have a need for that like very custom type of model, I believe that there's a path as well, right? Probably not through different models, but through other means, right? Through the services to deploy them.
Yes, and again, we are not going to host all of the models but in Azure, but yes, there is a path here. So Jose is asking if we have any image classification sample in GenAI for beginners. No, we have the traffic camera that I think we also talk here. We have a video analyzer. We have a couple of image samples, end-to-end sample, but not image classification. That's something that probably needs to fall more on the machine learning.net piece that we have here. We're not talking about the ML.net here. It's not part of the course. I will add it here because I know, Jose, that you talked a couple of times about this. I will add this into our next session wish list. So if we have a simple, cool scenario about this and someone who can help us, we can do that. But I remember that we have services like Custom Vision AI, Machine Learning.net, and more that can help to do this. But we are not covering. Pablo, are we covering image classification, or
No,
we are
not
covering big models?
not
Yes.
not for now. Here's the thing, Bruno. If you want to, we can add like what we need to do, new sample, new everything, and we are very close to launch. So maybe not now, but I'll not make any promises. We need to talk internally. But I don't know. A stranger thing happens. Deep Sea launched, so you never know.
Yes, and
You never know.
I am super tempted to click here because this is also super important. We are going to links on the shoulders of the Azure AI community. They have a
Yeah,
Discord server, which is super active, super massive active, and there is a lot of people asking new scenarios like that one and more. I don't want to click here because Discord is hell for me. When I open Discord, I have so many new things here and there that I really don't want to do that.
just
But
mute, Bruno. Mute, like mute only for notifications. That's what you should do.
no, I have people contact me asking questions. So I am going to, by the way, I have my personal account in Discord. So you're also going to see me with my Warhammer friends, my running friends, and more. So no Discord, not Discord while sharing my screen. But if
Yeah,
we want to have, we will figure out the way, because we already have a .NET channel there, we will figure out the way that for request. So in example, if someone wants to, as Jose asking here, if someone wants to have image classification samples, we will add it into the list. And while we are updating this with the latest trends, like reasoning models right now, we are going to mix that. Okay, what the community want to know more about image classification, and we put it there. And so far for us, Discord is going to be the place to do, because
yeah.
the other course, the Generative AI for beginners, they have
And
Discord here, and as you see here, they have almost 30K,
13K.
13,000 members there. So there's a huge community there. So for
I
feedback
gotta
and more,
say,
we want to do
one
that. Yes, sorry, Pablo.
I'm gonna say that that answers already one of the questions on our part of Vindra. I don't know. I'm sorry, I cannot pronounce your name correctly. Said, what is a prerequisite to learn all of this? And very simple. You can learn all of this going first to Generative AI for beginners, the non the standard version. Then after you took a look on that, you can easily go to Generative AI no .NET version, because on .NET is more about applications and how can you apply to your specific product fit instead of just learning techniques, right? So please take a look on the Generative AI for beginners first. Start, fork, have fun with that, then go back with Generative AI.net. We got another question from Ricardo Josué. I think it's Portuguese, so I'm gonna guess. When this will be available? I don't think we can announce. I can say mid-February, can we, Bruno?
Yes. Yes, I would
Yeah,
probably say that in the next show, which is going to be what time, what day? It's going to be the 12th of February. We may make the public repo. We are waiting for some productions in the videos and some
yeah,
other stuff, but mid-February. Keep in mind that mid-February is going to be a very fancy AKA link. So you are going to find something like, keep this one in mind, uh, GenAINET. So this is the one that we are going to use. So go there, click there, click there, click there until we have the repo public. But yes, mid-February, this is our goal. And again, we are finishing packaging everything and also thanking you and Luis and everyone to give us feedback in terms of, okay, we learned today that people want to have the latest and greatest, like reasoning models, and also Hugging Face, which is also super
yeah.
important.
I gotta say right away, folks, we can only know what we know if you talk. So please, if we are missing anything that you want to learn, talk to us. Talk in Azure AI community in the Discord. Please tell us because we cannot guess what you are thinking. It's impossible. Please say it out loud. Tag us. I gonna expect to not be be spammed, but tag us on Blue Sky, on X, on LinkedIn. Say I want this on that. Please do not spam us, but we need to know, right? That's the only way we can give you amazing support in the best content if we know what you need to. So let us know.
Yes, and hey, we have a question from Manuel. If we are going to do this in Spanish, yes. One of the once we make this public, as I said, goal is mid-February. We're going to host a couple of streamings in the Reactor channel, and we're going to cover Spanish, Portuguese, French, Chinese, Korean. I can't remember. We have the support for a lot of advocates and communities that's going to help us with this. If you want to host an overview of this, happy to help with everything. And also, we are going to translate the repo to other languages. We are going to give it a try to a process that we have internally to have the repo in other languages. So if English is not your first language and you are not feeling comfortable with this, we are going to have those options. Again, as in top of my mind, I have French, Spanish, Portuguese, Chinese, and Korean. I probably forget some languages, but we are going to do that. So that is going to be important. Yes, expect on March that we are going to start the streamings in other languages in the Reactor channel to promote and to help with this. And we are getting at the out of the end of the time. Oh, we have one more question. What Azure skill needs to this course? Oh, that's a great question. Because if you move to Azure, you need to have a basic understanding of Azure services and Azure components. So I will say that if you have a beginner level in Azure, and you can do something like, an example, the AI 900 exam, where you understand regions, you understand security, you understand the concept of resource group and services and more, that should be it. If you want to go deeper and start to do it deeper in Azure AI, that will going to be better. But at the beginning, I think a basic Azure level understanding should be good enough. I don't know, Luis, Pablo, anything to add there? This is a good question.
Yeah, no, I think that you practically covered it, right? I think, one of the nice things about generative AI is that the ramp to learning, like in terms of AI and things like that, it definitely flattens it, right? And so you
Yes.
can just start doing stuff, right? Rather than, training your model, which is what we've historically had to do in the past. So, from a skills perspective, as long as you know .NET or you're comfortable with .NET, I think that should be a pretty good starting point.
Yes, and hey, there is a great question also here. Azure AI document intelligence. We have document intelligence in the list to an example. What we just talk in example, we chat with your data to use Markdown to analyze documents. The official service there is document intelligence, and it will be coming soon as part of the other topics. So, sweet Sasha, you can wait 2 weeks and you can take a look at this if it's released. Otherwise, contact me as Pablo said in LinkedIn, Twitter. I'm going to say Twitter. I'm not going to say X, in Blue Sky or whatever, and we can share some documents where you can start. Because yes, Azure AI Document Intelligence is the service to go when you are managing documents in the very professional and scalable way. But right now, I don't think it's here yet. It's in the to-do list.
Yeah, I think so. We got a challenge, Bruno. I think I know who this guy is.
Oh, hey, no, that's not fair because I know that Pablo speaks Spanish, but my Portuguese is no bueno.
Yo puedo hablar español, yo sé hablar español. No eres es mejor el español del mundo, pero consigo hablar si es necesario. Bruno, ¿consigues hablar portugués? Yo creo que consigues.
Not today. My machine is already very bad. I don't want to kill the stream. Hey, we are getting to the end of the hour. I promise I will do my best. I will probably join Pablo in one of the Portuguese streams and at least learn there. But no, just today I want to thanks everyone for giving us some feedback. It was really, really sweet to know more about what people know. And keep an eye on the .NET channels because the announcement is going to be anytime soon. And hey, Pablo, Luis, final words.
Final words, I'm gonna say one thing. Please feedback. That's the only thing I want. That's one thing I desire. That's my true desire is feedback for this course. Please let us know because we have so many topics, and I know generative AI is really big. So tell us what you want. Tell us what you need for us to make your job. Applying this amazing new technology everywhere. Let us know how can we help you. But we are so excited for you to see Generative AI for Beginners .NET Edition.
Yes, and the final one. Sorry, Luis. Share the repo link. The repo is private. It's private right now. It's going to be public in a couple of weeks. So this is kind of a soft preview of what we have. But follow us, follow the .NET channels, and you will hear about this when it goes public.
Yeah, no, I love that. I mean, all the feedback that's already in the chat here is great. And again, right, this is a soft launch, just previewing what's coming. So it's really exciting to see how eager folks are to get their hands on this. So can't wait to actually get it out there and folks start trying it out.
Perfect. And with that, we are going to, I think they are kicking me out of this office. We are going to close the session. Hey, New York people, I haven't seen, I think it's the second or third time I've been here in the last couple of years. I haven't seen Spider-Man. I haven't seen the Pizza Rat. New York is not treating me well. No, so jokes aside, lovely people. See you next one, everyone. Thanks for all the feedback. Thanks for all of everything that you share. We are adding notes here. Thanks, Luis and Pablo. And hey, have a great day, everyone. Goodbye.
Have a good day, folks.
Bye-bye.